A deal is imminent and could be reached this weekend, claims Nancy Pelosi. Is she blowing smoke? Has she been around too many dragons that blow smoke? Is this real? Is this puffery? Is this true? Or is a second stimulus check going to be ratified and become law early next week? Boy, what a shocking twist and turn of events. This is Afternoon's LALATE. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Afternoon's LA with a really shocking twist of turns of events as the Temple of Doom is suddenly becoming the Temple of Optimism. The question is whether she's blowing smoke, or is this actually the case? If you've not subscribed to this channel, go to the front of this channel, subscribe. The channel that has now expanded to 4 hours of programming every day. Thank you for tuning in for Mornings LA this morning, followed by 14, the new series on LA that details the next 14 days of this president and the U.S. economy as he deals with COVID, self-distancing and quarantining. Also like this video because it's going to be the most comprehensive video you're going to have on this afternoon. Let me get to the incredible details. Shocking great news, and the question is whether it's all true. I'm going to be giving you details. These are coming from the words of Nancy Pelosi herself, so these are not source comments. These are actually direct quotes from her. The question is whether she is actually giving her opinion of the situation, or it really is the situation. She says that a deal could happen this weekend, a deal between her and Steve Mnuchin as negotiations fell apart over the last few days. She also claims that the president obtaining COVID-19 changed the dichotomy of the situation. A little bit unclear why that would have changed the situation. Of course, job numbers came out today and they were not good, as detailed on Morning's LALATE. But let me detail to you why this seems to be incredibly shockingly great news if true. She claims that negotiations are still ongoing. She claims that she's still talking to Steve Mnuchin. She claims that a few areas now remain and that everything else is decided upon and done and dealed and agreed to, and that the deal is being held up by about 2 issues on the amount of money. Let me explain to you where we are, because I know it's very confusing, and I'm here to help you. Yesterday, in the House of Representatives, she introduced a tailored-down version of her original bill at $2.2 trillion, a bill that I said we're not going to get behind because it's bloated. It's too much money. The problem solver's bill is 1.5. We're still not unchanged about that. On Monday, the president, by Steve Mnuchin, introduced a counter-proposal, actually, Wednesday, counter-proposal of $1.6 trillion. Nancy saw the 1.6 to her 2.2, which has been her offer since July of 2.2, and said, no, I'm rejecting it. So she called a House of Representatives vote yesterday. The House of Representatives vote came amidst infighting from the Democrats, saying, don't put a vote, don't leave town, don't delay, don't this, don't that. She initially wanted the vote on Wednesday, and the problem solvers actually issued a statement saying, don't vote on it yet. We don't support the situation and stop breaking off negotiations. Well, she ultimately had the vote yesterday. And let me explain something, because the core number of viewers of this channel understand the situation, but the new viewers of this channel, thank you for bringing us to 280,000 subscribers today, are getting a little confused. Yesterday, she introduced the bill to the House of Representatives. It passed the House of Representatives. That does not mean it's law. It doesn't mean much of anything. There are hundreds of thousands of bills that pass, well, not hundreds of thousands, but lots and lots and lots and lots of bills that are passed every year in the Senate or every year in the House, and that's it. That's not law. It's passed in a House. For a bill to become a law, it has to pass the House, it has to pass the Senate, and has to be voted upon the president. The fact that it passed the House means much of nothing because the bill is dead now. A lot of other people dropped in the comments, well, now it's on to the Senate. That doesn't mean anything either. We have already been told that anything that arises from her in the Senate is dead. The reason why is the Senate's dominated by Republicans. There's a reason why, as Mitch McConnell says, the Republicans are not going to agree to $2.2 trillion. The reason why is the problem solvers who told Nancy Pelosi that anything from the House will die in the Senate because it's partisan. So that's why I want to make very clear to you is it was no achievement, it was no law, and it was no affecting of anything for you when it passed the House. It was merely a ceremonial publicity event because she already had a bill that passed the House. It's called the HEROES Act. It passed the House in May. So she didn't have to pass another bill. She's just passing a bill to say, I made changes, so look at me in a better light. Hopefully this is now clear to everyone. So once she had passed the bill in the House, there were two things to understand. One, there was a large number of Democrats who voted against the bill because of the purple power. Second, the fact that the bill was then passed, at least one Democrat came out and said, this was a bad time for our party. This was a partisan bill, and it's not going to ever get turned into law. Third, let me just say something quickly. Yesterday, I said the number 8 votes. It was an error, and I apologize. Let's go on. The point is that her party broke rank and voted against it and aligned with the Republicans. So that was the end of that day. It didn't finish then. Steve Mnuchin and Nancy Pelosi kept on talking because she didn't look good. She categorically looked bad. And throughout the night, events unfolded. The president was announced to have contracted COVID-19. If you watched our new series 14, which follows the next 14 days of this president and your stimulus, I explained to you that that means much of nothing to the impact on second stimulus. 1, he has not abdicated his roles as president. 2, Mike Pence is not in control currently. Mike Pence is the vice president, and he's tested negative. 3, Nancy Pelosi is not president of the United States. It would require all of those people involved to test positive and abdicate their roles. They're not. 4, the fact that the president has tested positive doesn't mean he can't do anything. He's in the West Wing, he's in the White House, and he's running the government remotely. His fingers are fine, his eyes are fine, his hair, well, that's another question. But and so that's what he's doing. So some people say, oh my God, we're not gonna stop. Now, Nancy Pelosi early this morning said that the situation has now changed. This has kind of changed the dynamic because now we see the reality of what we've been saying along. It's a vicious virus. Take that comment for what it's worth. Her comment was then taken by broadcast news and interpreted as there's going to be a deal. That language doesn't say there's going to be a deal. And that language doesn't say that Steve Mnuchin changed his number because the president got COVID-19. Basically, her quote sounds like the president got COVID, so Steve Mnuchin changed his number. No. What you need to understand is that the president contracting COVID had nothing to do with the situation of negotiations. Rather, this is what happened. Negotiations continued. Now, this is source data. This is not direct quotes, and this is from CNBC's reporting. They negotiated after the vote last night. They continued goodwill negotiation then, and they continued goodwill negotiation today. The talks, they have now told news reporters off the record, could result in a deal this weekend. Again, this is not my opinion. And I'm not telling you you're going to have a deal this weekend. And I'm not making a conclusory remark either. I'm telling you that the source data, CNBC, based upon sources close to Mnuchin and Pelosi, say that they have told news reporters the talks could result in a deal this weekend. Pelosi was asked how close this is to a deal. And she said that the items have been agreed upon, not the amounts, and that the language is still being fixed. For example, the Democrats wanted $75 billion for testing, which the White House came up and matched after last night's vote. Then they were there on dollars. Now they're tweaking the terms. So that was an example of one of the situations that Pelosi told reporters that after the vote, the Democrats were saying we want more money for testing. We want $75 billion. Then the White House came up to the number $75 billion. Then they wanted to modify the language, and now they're working on the language. Apparently, this is going on still. While they're hundreds of billions of dollars apart, Pelosi still believes she's optimistic. We always have to find a path, and that's our responsibility to do so. And I believe that we will. We, WEILL, will find our middle ground. We're legislators. We've got to get the job done. Oh boy, I like this person. Who is this Nancy Pelosi? This is not the one from yesterday. Remember the one from yesterday, which was, well, the one from the last 4 months, which is my way or the highway. Don't come back to me unless. I don't want to talk to you unless. And how about the one yesterday that said, I'm putting for a vote, and if you don't give me what I want, I'm getting on the plane, and I'll see you in, we'll set it up for a Biden win. I'll see you in January. Well, that one apparently has changed. And I wonder who got her to change that attitude. This is all the purple power. This is all the purple power. If you go on social media, the power of the purple that I started on this channel, in creating purple power, I said, hey, we need to have a bipartisan effort to get things for American people because no one's getting things for American people. People are acting silly and not giving us stimulus relief. And so I created purple power. I said, hey, red plus blue, purple. I was, of course, wearing a purple shirt. I did not look purple. And I said, hey, let's get this going. And we got it going. And if you go on social media and look how many tweets there are for purple power dating back to early September, it's overwhelming. It's almost its own movement unto itself. So what happened is that there's significant disagreement. This was Friday. Pelosi said our negotiations with the Trump administration continue, and I'm hopeful we can reach an agreement despite the significant disagreement on several key issues. And we continue to work on the text to move quickly to facilitate an agreement. One of the issues that has been the issue of non-agreement has been FPUC. The Democrats are still at $600 a week. The White House is reportedly still at $400 a week. Ironically, that's going backwards because, you know, the problem solvers were $450 and then $600. The White House is going backwards to $400. The other issue that still remains an issue of contention is local government. Democrats want $400 billion. White House is at $250. Again, I don't understand that either because Nancy was at $950 for 6 months, wasting everyone's time. The White House was at $150. Then Meadows said he'll double it at $300. So I don't understand why the White House is at $250. Both of them are acting a little bit silly now. You know, make it $300 and call it a day, folks. FPUC, make it $500 a day and make it a day, folks. It's just what's going on here. Then she's also cited disagreement over child tax credit, earned income credit, child care assistance money, and funds for testing and tracing. That was before the other report. That's now fixed. The other issue that's really has taken a twist and turn, and you know this is afternoons LALATE. This starts at 3:30 with the shack, then goes then hazard pay, then FPUC, then rent. Then the next video after this, I will be going over that the airlines are now apparently being geared up by Pelosi and Mnuchin as a standalone bill. Yeah, that's a big change. So the airlines may get a $25 billion standalone bill. Pelosi yesterday had said that the GOP does not share values about it, but today she's been a little bit more toned down in that language. The big thing that's really pushed in the envelope today is not the president's contraction of COVID-19. It's the jobs numbers, and the jobs numbers was horrible. If you watched it on Mornings LALATE, and if you have not watched that broadcast, please watch it, is that the jobs numbers was awful. This is new jobs per week. This includes temp jobs, part-time jobs, bad jobs, you know, odd jobs, you know, people that work more than Nancy. The numbers were horrible. Horrible. It was an improved number, but it was not what anyone on Wall Street was predicting. It was hundreds of thousands of people less than anything Wall Street had predicted. Mark Meadows came out on behalf of the White House and said, we're so excited about the jobs numbers today. I'm not kidding. That's exactly what he said. He was not wearing a mask, but he was wearing a purple tie. Yeah, The messaging is just wonderful, isn't it? He said the economy continues to be robust and it's a V-shaped recovery. It's not. Unfortunately, that's not what everyone is focused on this morning. Well, I was focused on the purple tie myself. Trump's first question to me this morning was how the economy is doing. How are the stimulus talks going on Capitol Hill? Oh, well, that's quite good. So the president is focused on your second stimulus still. That was then. Now there's more. What would potentially be in this package? And I know that this may seem as confusing messaging from me to you, so I want to make very clear. Our efforts have continued to work. The Purple Power has pushed Mnuchin to come in a nonpartisan position at 1.6, to push that Pelosi at 2.2 is partisan, to push the parties to get it done. We have pushed and pushed and pushed and said, hey, her 2.4 bill was bad. She came in at 2.2. We pushed and said, don't put it for a vote and don't vote for her bill. And we got that as well when Democrats yesterday swapped sides and voted with the Republicans, said vote against the bill. We don't like the bill. And now we've pushed as well by saying don't leave town, because if you leave town with no stimulus for you, we're going to get you out. Cease for stimulus. All the efforts of the Purple Power are working. But I don't want to make it mixed messages saying now I'm sort of, co-signing a Pelosi bill. No, what I want you to know is what's in this bill as Mnuchin and Pelosi are trying to get off of their numbers and find the middle ground, which ultimately is what the Purple Power is, getting stimulus and finding a middle ground. So let's go over the numbers. Stimulus checks, $1,200. For individuals, self-adjusted gross income up to $75,000 receive $1,200 stimulus check. That number would decrease as their gross income approaches $99,000. Married couples would receive $2,400 stimulus check. Married couple, and that would be for gross net income of $150,000 in 2019. And it will be decreased thereafter. All adult dependents and all minor dependents will get a $500 check, regardless of age, not the $1,200. We don't know about how many people in the household would not be taken out for child support so far. $600 FPUC is what Pelosi is offering, and that would be retroactive beginning September 6th and ending January 2021. Mnuchin is somewhere around $400 at the moment. Next, aid for state and local, $436. Next, education, $225. I'm talking about billion, not dollars. COVID testing and contract tracing. Next, $75 billion. Finally, small business, $120 billion. This would be a new round of PPP especially for restaurants. It would have also involved money for EIDL grants and EIDL loans. I got to tell you, I don't like the language for EIDL. It's very, very weird and unclear. So as we sit here tonight, or this afternoon, or whatever time zone you're in, how would we digest all this? We would digest this as we're being told a deal is imminent. We're being told that somehow someone got to the Temple of Doom and told her, get off your deal. You understand now, as we end this video, that there is no law. You understand that what happened yesterday did not give you a law. You understand that the fact that the bill is past the House means much of nothing. The bill is dead. It will never pass the Senate. You understand that she is now negotiating below what yesterday's bill passed at was, and that the White House is negotiating up from what their offer was on Tuesday. Really exciting, great day. It's been an incredible, great day. Thank you for tuning in for Mornings LALATE. Remember, always, because we're launching a second new show, which always will be in that time slot. Someone asked me, Jennifer asked me, hey, is 14 going to stay at that time slot? Yes. You will now have, because you asked over and over for, viewers of this channel have asked over and over, for a show that falls somewhere between our 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard show time slot of Mornings LALATE and our 3:30 afternoons LALATE. That show will drop in between there, which we believe will stay at the 11 a.m. Pacific Standard time slot. Just do me one favor. Don't stop watching Mornings LA to only tune into 14. Please watch both shows. Coming up next is Hazard Pay and big developments on more continuation about check. Next, after that, FPUC with big developments as you hear today. And finally, Mnuchin versus Pelosi returns, that big special you like, with also big developments about Iran. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and stay of LA for more.